What is going on, guys and gals? It is your boy J Love coming back at you, and as your title says, we have just hit 2 years of active authority. First off, guys, thank you so much for being part of this channel. Thank you for being part of this video. If you're new here, think about subscribing. I make all videos about Hotshot trucking in general, just kind of talking about my company, talking about expansion. I'm giving tips and tricks for you guys to be able to grow your companies and become successful hotshot or semi-trucking companies. Now, I wouldn't say that we're the most successful out there, but I've been able to build a pretty good system that's able to generate a good amount of money for people. And for me, that is very humbling, and also it's really cool to be able to see the fruit of your labors. Now, the fruit of your labor. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Now, guys, like the title says, we just hit 2 years of active authority on October 21st, 2022. And these last 2 years, guys, have been crazy. If you guys have been here from the beginning, thank you for being here. If you're new, I'd love to go over the kind of how everything got started, just like a real brief synopsis of how the system got going. Back in January 2020, guys, I was actually in church. I was in church and I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, hey, man, what are you doing for work? If you don't got anything to do for work, you should come to Alaska with us. We're doing pest control. It's going to be a good time. He's like, I actually have a semi-truck on the road. And I said, bro, you ain't got no semi-truck. And he's like, no, I do. And I was like, well, how much money are you making? How's it work? And started talking about it, talking about how much money he's making. And I was like, wow, this is actually really interesting, And you don't drive? And he's like, no, I don't drive. I just run the system that, the driver goes out there and kills it and everything. And I'm like, no, I can definitely do this. So I call my friend actually right there. I step out of church, call him. And then we make the plan to do that, to get a trucking company going. I started YouTubing, started watching videos, watching a lot of, like David McGill, I think I was watching a lot, learning what MC was, DOT, because I didn't know anything at all, guys. I couldn't have told you nothing about trucking. This was just, 2.5 years ago. I couldn't have told you anything, right? But I know I'm the type of person that if I stick my mind to it, I can learn, I can pick everything up. So we started learning, and we started from step one, and we started going, we filed for our MC numbers, DOT numbers, we made an LLC, we started looking into equipment and everything. And fast forward to March, we went to go buy a semi-truck. And at this point, guys, I didn't have a CDL. My friend didn't have a CDL. We both had pretty solid credit scores. I was actually selling cars at the time, so I was making pretty good money. I understood finance pretty well, so I thought we'd buy a semi-truck, no problem. But push came to shove. We got there. We realized, hey, if you don't have a CDL, a lot of banks will not lend you unless you have an established company or a CDL. And we had neither at the time. So that kind of took all the wind out of our sails, and we kind of just held off on everything. So ended up going to Alaska that summer, working like normal, saving some money. And while we were in Alaska, we heard about Hotshot trucking. A friend was talking to us about it, and I started YouTubing that. I started watching Tow Piglet. I started watching Load Miser. I started watching Hauling Cash. I started watching Strong Hotshot. And all these people started giving me, information. And I was like, okay, no, we can definitely do Hotshot trucking. It's basically exactly the same as full-size truck, but a smaller truck. You haul less freight, but you can still make pretty good money. So, and then we were like, well, we can buy an F-350, right? Anybody can own an F-350. So we made the decision to start with Hotshot trucking. So after we left Alaska, we found an F-350. We bought that. We found a 40-foot trailer in Alabama, and then we just needed a driver. So I hit up one of my friends who I knew lived close. I was like, hey, man, what do you think about driving this setup? It's like driving a semi-truck, but smaller. You don't need a CDL. You just need a DOT medical card. We can make it happen. So we put him in the seat. I remember the first day, I picked him up in the truck, and we went down to Alabama from Utah. So it was like a 15, 16-hour, 20-hour drive. It was pretty long, I don't remember, to pick the trailer up. We bought a Southern Trailers 40-footer, didn't have mega ramps, but had ramps on the back, and 7,000-pound axles. We had it D-rated to 12,000 pounds, so that'd be 26,000 pounds, so it'd be a non-CDL setup, and we went from there. We picked up a couple different loads, trying to figure out what was going on. He was driving, I was booking loads. I remember the first conversations I ever had with a broker before, how nervous I was and just not knowing what was going on. I remember calling on loads or having people call me on loads that were 48 foot, 40,000 pounds. And I was like, why are these people calling me? And I couldn't understand, they could see that I had been looking at the board and that I was on the board and everything. So no, we ended up picking up a load. One of the loads we picked up was overweight, and then our trailer brake wasn't working that well, and like just a lot of bull crap was happening, So we ended up getting back, and he ended up going on the road by himself. And he did that for about a couple months. Now, I kind of realized pretty quick, and this is when I was making YouTube videos, right? You can go back and watch some of the first YouTube videos I ever made, and you can see all the stuff I'm talking about right now. Uh, we realized pretty quick though that it wasn't going to be as profitable as we thought it was going to be. A big problem for us where we lived. He lived in Las Vegas. I lived in Southern Utah, and freight over there was crazy. It wasn't paying that well. There wasn't that much of it. And fuel prices were crazy over there too compared to the Midwest. Now this is like before the fuel started getting hiked up in price, but still it was a lot more expensive. So we were running a lot in California and all that area. So, and he wanted to be home a little bit more than what we could have him be home because of all of these factors. So he ended up actually becoming a dispatcher for me. We hired a guy named Luis. I put out an ad through a YouTube video, hired a guy named Luis, and he ran for about 3 to 4 months. He was doing pretty good, but our problem was freight. You know, I couldn't get the loads that he needed to get to give him the miles and make us the monies we needed to make. Make us the money we needed to make, but also give him the miles he needed for him to make money. So we were good friends. We came to the decision that it wasn't really going to work out. And at that point, we kind of realized we needed to take our truck off of the road, because at that point, guys, I actually had leased on another guy who lived in northern Utah. I also leased on, also had met Ray, and talked to Ray, and got him leased on as well. So we had Ray going hard with his F550 and the 40-foot trailer, which was like kind of our first vision of CDL Hotshot. And then we also had, and you can watch that video, all those videos are on YouTube as well. And then we leased on Jared. Now Jared, after a little bit, you know, he wanted to get a bigger setup, so we kind of took him off the road. He was leasing a trailer from us that we needed to sell, so we sold that trailer, got him off the road, and he was kind of doing his own thing for a while, and he has his own authority now, and he's out there killing it, so more power to him. And so we ended up just focusing directly on Ray. And this was a really good learning experience for me, because I was doing all of the dispatching, learning a lot, get the flip out of here. Understanding the market, you know, just really trying to make him the most amount of money possible. And I think we did $100,000 in 4 months. You know, I was really just dedicated to make him the most amount of money. And I'm very grateful to Ray. And he gave me the opportunity to really be able to build my system, and gave us the stability we needed to continue to grow the company, you know. And so Ray, then after about 5 months of having him just leased on by himself, we met Rod, leased Rod on, and then we met Devin, leased Devin on, and then it just went from there, guys. And so currently today, you know, 2 years later, we have 4 CDL Hotshots leased on, and we have our own semi truck, guys. We ended up buying our own semi truck about 4 months ago, and that was its own hassle in itself, you know, getting down on the road and get that making money. And you know, the last 2 years in a nutshell have been crazy, but they've been awesome, guys, to be able to build the system to where we're at right now. And to have the great people leased on that we do. You know, we have Ray, who's awesome, Ruben, who's awesome, Eli, who's awesome, Sean, who's awesome. We have Clay driving the semi, who's an awesome guy, and just being able to be so selectful and to bring on the people that are really going to uphold the Flash Love name, and you know, be great additions to the system. And I get hit up all the time, guys, from people that want to lease on or want us to dispatch for them. And I'm very selective, guys. It's not saying that you guys aren't the par that we need, but you know, if I let everybody onto my company, I would probably be in the same position Toe Piglet is in, which is not having a company. No offense, Toe Piglet, but it is what it is. But some takeaways from the last 2 years, guys. First takeaway I want to give you guys is you aren't going to have many friends in this world, in this hotshot world, or in this trucking world. A lot of people will act like they're your friends, but they're really just trying to make as much money off of you as possible. Brokers, for example, are going to be the ones that are going to just scheme off the top as much as possible. They're going to act like they're helping you out. They're going to act like they're there for you, and then they're just going to take you for all you're worth. You know, one problem with trucking is how many people are getting their pockets lined, okay? And that's one thing I don't like about it at all, is by the time that freight actually gets to the driver or to the carrier, we're not getting paid nearly what it was paying, or we're just getting the bare bones because all these people thought it'd be cool to take some off the top. So a lot of times, guys, you're going to get stuck with doing the bulk of the work and getting paid the least for doing it. So you have to be pretty cautious. Another thing I don't like, guys, is insurance. Insurance is ever expensive. You know, that's one thing. If you're trying to do non-CDL, you're going to be paying probably higher insurance than what we pay. I know that for sure if you're a brand new trucking entity. I remember when we first started our trucking company, we were paying $2,500 a month for our one setup, and that's insane on a non-CDL setup. That was crazy, and we couldn't do that, right? And so it was very important that we grew and that we built our system and brought on setups that could grow some money necessary to be able to pay that insurance payment, and we were able to do that. But yeah, insurance is crazy, guys. Fuel, you know, there's a lot of market manipulation out there from from big trucking companies. I think with fuel is a big thing, as well as rules and regulations on the road. I think huge trucking companies manipulate the market a lot to make it better for them. You know, they want us to have more rules and regulations, but they want to be exempt from those rules and regulations, which you can see a lot of them are. But they don't want us on the road. They don't want us making money because we take away from them, right? And so they have a lot of pull, they have a lot of money, and they definitely have politicians in their pockets. So, you know, sometimes in trucking, you're fighting a losing battle. But I know that if you build a system that is strong, and you cover your bases and you're humble enough to say, hey, I might be the problem when problems arise, you can definitely grow, become better, and make really good money. And we've been able to do that, guys. You know, these last 2 years, I personally haven't made a ton of money. My bills have all been paid. You know, I've been able to live a good quality of life, and I'm super grateful for that. But it was needed to be able to build the system to where we are right now. You know, and me right now, personally, I'm focused on getting my own trucks on the road, as well as still providing that great system to the people that are leased on. I'm not really looking to lease on a ton more Hotshots to the fleet or really anybody. I'm more focused right now on getting my own assets purchased and on the road, making money for my company, as well as, you know, ever making the lease-ons that are on our company right now the most amount of money possible. You know, that is my goal, to keep them well fed all the time, as well as being able to focus on the other side of things. You know, I'm super grateful for my dispatchers. That's another thing, guys. Having a really good dispatcher in your corner is important. And I don't think it's like any special, I don't think it's anything special in a dispatcher that makes them really good. I think it's mostly dedication. It's not being afraid, you know, being able to go in there and ask for the amount of money they need and be able to prove to those brokers why they should have that money, you know. And Trent and Braden are great dispatchers, and I'm super grateful for them and all the work they put in, and they've been able to really help me out over the past and make good money, right? And it's been a grind, guys. The last 2 years have been awesome. They've been very stressful, very hard. But, you know, I put myself in a position with our company to be able to expand, to be able to grow. You know, we have a really good safer score, and, you know, really trying to take everything as serious as possible. And I'm grateful for the lease-ons for upholding that safer score and keeping their equipment in line, keeping their paperwork in line, you know, and just being as professional as possible all the time. And I'm very grateful for them, guys. But if I can give you guys one tip, it would be to expect the unexpected and to cover your six all the time, guys. To really to know that no one's really going to actually be your friend, if that makes sense, right? You need to really look out for yourself out there, and you need to provide the best quality of service to your customers. Be professional on the road, and don't give these DOT officers any reason to screw you, because they will take every reason, you know. And that's one thing I've seen as well is, you know, since we've had the semi on the road, we haven't had one inspection, but our Hotshots get inspected all the time. But I mean, they come out clean because they're savages and everything works, guys. But I just want to leave this video, guys. Thank you guys for being a part of this channel. Thank you for being part of Flash Flow Logistics. You guys are a part of it, and I love you guys so much. I thank you for being here, and I hope you all have a great day.